Hello and welcome to the 2022 edition of my driving school series on the F1 games. Today's video will be going over how to drive very fast on the games, specifically how to trail brake, throttle control out of corners, how to increase accuracy, and also how to downshift going into corners. It'll basically go over everything like that, and if you follow these steps and practice them enough, you will definitely become faster on the games. So let's get into this. So I'm going to be using Sector 1 of both Australia and Bahrain to explain these tips, mainly because I think these sectors have varying different corner types, whether ranging from high to low speed and quite tricky corners and braking zones. So I'm just going to quickly go over it now before going into it in more detail. So coming into turn 1, using all the track on exit, and now preparing myself to turn 3, spotting the braking marker just after the 100-meter board and before the black box. So those are 2 reference points. Coming out here, coming back in wide to then cut into this corner, and you can see I actually used a late apex there on that curve. I found that actually does help around here, so that's just a little tip. So now I'm going to go into this in a lot of detail. So the first lesson is going to be on how to make yourself more accurate in using all of the tracks. So what I'm going to do here is quickly glance at my braking point just to get it into my peripheral vision, and so I can know where it is, whereabouts in the background, and help me be more accurate on braking right at the braking point, not before it or after. This does help if you say you're new to a track, or like in my case, I'm new to this game because this was my first few laps on the game. And yeah, so you're going to want to just be looking for your braking point. And now, as we replay the footage on, now you're going to want to be focusing on your apex. Like, all your focus should be on that apex right now, not anywhere else, not looking up or down at your speed or anything like that, just focusing on that apex. And now as we turn into the corner, you see we've sort of got this corner sorted now. You can see that's kind of the line we're taking into this corner. I don't really have to focus on it anymore, so instead I'm going to focus on the exit of the corner right there. You need to look towards the exit of the corner early, as this will help increase your accuracy going into that corner. So don't bother looking at the apex, look towards the exit now, which is also turn 2, and you can see I hit it perfectly. I don't go above the track limits, and I go right to the edge. So now you can see I'm spotting my braking point again quickly, just the 100-meter board, and now I'm focusing completely on that apex. And now coming out of the corner, I'm actually going to be looking at the next corner already, because it's the most important thing at this moment in time. And now I'm going to look to the exit of that corner. So you always got to look to where you're going, further ahead basically is the best way to put it. And you can see you just get so much more accuracy that way with the track. So it might be difficult for you to get your head around, so just remember it like this. You're looking at your apex, and as you turn into the corner, you're going to want to look at the exit of the corner early, and that will increase your accuracy. Now the next corner is going to be all about throttle control, braking and steering into the corner. So we're coming into the corner, we're braking in a straight line, brakes are fully on. Now as we start to turn the wheel, we lift off the brakes. So the more steering input you have, the less braking, and on the exit, the straighter the wheel is, the more throttle we have. And that's basically the foundation. That really is all there is to it. The more you steer going into the corner, the less braking. So as you start to steer the wheel, lift off the brake. Now coming into this corner, we're heavy on the brakes as we hit the braking point. And then, look, as I turn the wheel, I then start to lift off the brakes. And now, coming out of the corner, as I start to put on the throttle, I start to unwind the wheel. And you can see I actually go full throttle momentarily right as the wheel is centered. You can see right there. And then once again, I'm steering the wheel, so I'm lifting off the throttle. I don't really need to brake through here, clipping the curb just a little bit there. As I mentioned before, it's a pretty good line to take around Australia. I would recommend just clipping that curb on exit. Bags you about, say, half a tenth. So that's just another little tip. Now as for downshifting into a corner, it's basically the same as what you do when you brake into a corner. So as you steer more, your downshifts become less frequent. So initially, as your steering wheel is centered and you're braking for the corner at 100%, your downshifts will be quite frequent. Then as you steer the wheel, they become less frequent. So it's basically the same as what you do when you brake. Just as you steer more, there's less of it. And that's basically all there is for downshifting. So now we're going to be moving on to Sector 1 of Bahrain for another example of these tips in action. So again, I'm just going to quickly look for just before the 100 meter board for my braking point. Now I'm focusing completely on that apex. You see, I've actually gone in 4th gear there. Now it is still, you know, even though I'm not really following it there, it is true that as you downshift, the more you steer, the less frequent your downshifts become. It's just here I was kind of going for a lot of high gears for these corners. It's just kind of what I felt more comfortable with on this game initially. That's just the thing, you see. Sometimes it is also about feel, but in general, the more you turn, the less you downshift. But anyway, now I'm going to go through this in more detail. So just before the 100 meter board, we're braking at the absolute maximum, and then as we begin to steer the wheel, we lift off the brakes, we hit the apex, and now on our transition off the apex, we're going to be focusing ahead. Always going to want to be looking ahead to the next apex right there, and now we're just focusing on it. You can see the throttle, we go full throttle momentarily as we get the wheel straight, and then we lift off it a bit as we begin to steer. Now we've already pretty much sorted out this corner, you know, we've got it covered, we're here now. There's not really much focusing left to do on that apex, so now I'm going to be focusing on the exit of the corner just to increase my accuracy upon getting there. So now as we come out of the corner there, we're right up to the white line, and so coming into the right hander here, I'm going to be braking just before the 100 meter board, using all the outside track by the way, and now coming into here, I'm lifting off the brake as I'm steering the wheel, and now I'm going to be looking towards this part of the track, because even though I can't see the exit of the corner, that where I'm looking is where my car will be, and it will eventually lead me to the apex here, and it will still increase accuracy. Fully on the throttle, running over the curb there, just to gain you some extra time. The track is there, so, you know, use it. Now one more word of advice before I go, is that the key word in all of this is practice. Practice will make all of this possible for you. You definitely can't expect to have watched this video and then automatically know how to do all this stuff. It will take time, you know, you've got to have the feel of your muscle memory, and you will get it wrong. As you can see here, you know, I've been racing on the wheel since 2015 now, and even I, you know, make very stupid mistakes sometimes, particularly in Australia. The exit off turn 1, I kept just going over the white line, sometimes invalidating the lap. So, you know, practice is the most important thing in all of this. If you can practice these tips consistently, then you will become better and better, and gradually you will become much faster. But I'm pretty confident that even after watching this video, if you didn't have much knowledge on racing before this, you will definitely see a pretty big improvement in the way you drive on these games. So that's pretty much all I have to say, and apologies this video's come out late. I only just got the game today as of recording this video because there was a delay in delivery, but yeah, I hope you found use out of this video, and I hope you all improve and get to where you'd like to be pace wise on this game. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.